Well, we kind of avoided those because Germans have the habit sometimes of taking all their clothes off. There's cages, 3 cages that hang from the top. And an old man came to them, pointed up at the cages and said, "That's what we do with people like you." I can't not smile when I think about Munster. Comparing Germany and Australia, I mean, if you think the United States and Germany are different, let's just take Australia and Germany together for a second, because Australia, you have from everything to climate, the seasons are backwards, and the driver's wheel of the car is on the other side. So it's not gonna be that drastically different as far as things like that in Germany. Australia also, the people, I would have to say, are a lot more friendly. And they come over and they just talk and talk and talk and talk. In Germany, people are very standoffish at first, but if you win a German over as a friend, they would do anything for you. Houses in Germany are very different than anything here in America, and even from what I remember in Australia. So houses in Germany, it's all smaller and it's all more expensive. So a lot of people live in apartment complexes. You're wealthy if you own a house. That's just how it is. There's a lot of dual homes, duplexes. But if you own a house, you're doing well in Germany. In Australia, I believe it was a little bit more like America, that you had, suburbs and houses, and yeah, of course there's apartments everywhere, but I remember we lived in a house. Cost of living, the euro to the Australian dollar, both Australia and Germany's economy is one of the strongest in the world. They're very socialistic, and I believe Australia is also going a little more socialistic, and I would have to say they're pretty comparable, cost of living. I think you can get away with more with the Australian dollar than you can with the euro in Germany, so I believe the exchange rate's in the Australians' favor at the moment. So in Germany, especially the schooling system, they would have, it's really different. They really try to funnel you in earlier in age. And in America, we have kind of systems where we kind of have the freedom to choose even while we're in college. In Germany, it's not the case. You are funneled out even through the equivalent of junior high into your college material, or you're not. And so that was really interesting. I never got that far in Australia to really know the difference. I remember Australia's schools were actually pretty similar to the schools I went to in America. The differences between maybe German and Australian schools in Australia, I remember we always had to wear uniforms. So, and hats every time we went out because it was so hot. We had to wear these hats that had these neck flaps that covered the back of your neck, just so you didn't get roasted. There's also not as many bugs in Germany as there were in Australia. There's a lot bigger bugs and spiders in Australia, so if you have a spider fetish, don't worry, you're not going to Australia if you're going to Germany. If you are afraid of spiders, Australia is a little bit more a place you might want to watch out for. I'm not trying to infuse politics into this, but this is just something I noticed while I was there, is that they would pay you for how many kids you have. And so people could have more money staying home just by having 5 kids than going out and getting a job. So a lot of people would just stay home and kind of freeload off the system. Australia, from what my memories were, wasn't as much this way. Just living in Australia, of course, there's a lot of places you can travel, like the Great Barrier Reef. Inside Australia, maybe like New Zealand. Germany, after living there, one of the greatest benefits is being able to travel in Europe for very cheap. So, I flew to Rome for 75 euro, which is $90, and that's round trip. I think that was probably one of the biggest differences. Is Germany, you can get around a lot easier than I remember in Australia. I was in Usingen for 6 months, Dusseldorf for 6 months, and Munster for a year. Usingen is one of the sweetest places on earth. It is just literally land of rolling hills, beautiful, beautiful trees, forest walkways, and little villages spread out through these hills. So it's just, and these German houses, these little German villages of 2,000-3,000 people. And so it's a really fun area. Dusseldorf is a sweet city. You're gonna go, if you go to Dusseldorf, you'll love it. It's the capital of fashion in the world. Well, maybe Milan, Italy is, but in Germany, it's the capital of fashion in Germany. And it is just, there's so much to do. There's so many parks, especially parks. There's just like a Japanese type garden. There's a lot of places to eat. We actually taught a lot of people from Africa there. It's just very multicultural. And the main forms of transportation there, which was so different than Oozingen because we had to get everywhere with a car, were streetcars and buses. And so learning how to navigate those, and you kind of memorize where each number of the streetcar goes, and that's where you go, and it's great. One thing that you'll eat all across Germany that you need to try as soon as you get there is called a döner. It's a Turkish kebab, and they just take this massive knife and just like cut off slabs of meat and put it into the sandwich with this tzatziki, which is like a yogurt kind of dressing, and vegetables, and it is the best. When you are hungry, you will crave a döner for the rest of your life. There's a lot of cool shopping things to do there. Like I said, there's a lot of gardens and parks to go to as well. We kind of avoided those because Germans have the habit sometimes of taking all their clothes off when it's sunny outside. So we didn't spend a lot of time there. But the city itself, the mayor was really trying to make it. It's right on the Rhine River, so it's also really pretty there. And the city of Cologne, which is Köln in German, and Dusseldorf kind of have this rivalry. I think when I was in Dusseldorf, it was celebrating like its 1,025th anniversary of being a city. So that was kind of cool. And there's just a lot of places to eat along there. Innenstadt, the kind of the old town of Germany, Altstadt. There's just a lot of cool shops there, and festivals and things that go on as well. I can't not smile when I think about Münster. So the first thing I remember getting off the train from Dusseldorf to Münster was the bikes. You used to come out of the train station and there are bikes everywhere. I mean, just seas of bikes. I don't even know how to describe it. You just have to go. But your first instinct, let me just tell you for Instagram followers, is to get out and take a picture. To pull out your phone and take a picture. So every time I've gone back, which is only twice since then, the people I'm with always pull out their phone and take a picture. And it's what I did too, because you're just like, holy cow. The greatest thing about Münster is the people. It's like a Provo. It's like the Provo of Germany, but German style. So bikes everywhere. There's really pretty bike paths. You can go anywhere on a bike. It's almost faster in that city to travel on a bike than it is with a car. And we did. It's like perfect because it's like 300,000 people, so it's not too big, but it's not too small. It's very Catholic. Münster is probably one of the most Catholic cities in Germany. There's actually a church that's in the middle of the city, and there's 3 cages that hang from the top. And that's where they hung some Anabaptists who tried to come and change the city. And so in the 15th century, they strung them up there and left them to die. And the cages are there. They're not the actual cages, but they're still there as a reminder. And I was told when I got there that when missionaries first got back to Münster after World War II, that an old man came up, or whenever the first missionaries in Münster came, an old man came to them, pointed up at the cages and said, "That's what we do with people like you." So it's not that bad, but it was pretty funny. 60% of Münster was also destroyed by bombings in World War II. So a lot of it's been rebuilt. It's also the site where the 30-year war treaty was signed. So you can go see that place. There's a lot of Catholic churches there. There's a big dome, which is also really cool. And yeah, there's nice gardens and things to see and places to eat. I mean, everything you could want in a place is in Münster. So Germans, because of World War II, have grown to be very skeptical of organizations and institutions and religion, any type of belief system, because they were affected so deeply by World War II and the Nazi regime. It's still there. You don't really talk about it, and you just don't. And it's starting to come out more and more 70 years later, but it's really interesting. It's kind of taboo to talk about World War II. It is still talked about, but it's not something you go around talking about with everybody you meet.